in UNESCO, of course, we have a culture sector. They are taking care of the World Heritage Sites, whereas it's the natural science sector that takes care of biosphere reserves and of global geoparks. So, but that's up to the Republic of India to decide how you want to do that. There's different options. Establishing a national geopark committee, somebody mentioned, I think you mentioned that, Bhaskar. I think that would be absolutely wonderful, and that should then consist of members from the Ministry of Mining, Ministry of Earth Science, Ministry of Science, Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Education, others, and possibly even you can have others observing that, like people from the general public, NGOs, UNESCO. You can invite UNESCO as an observer as well. My sixth point before I start with that is in my hometown, which is called Osnabrück in north of Germany, you have the Terra Vita UNESCO Geopark. It's very, very beautiful. It has a number of sites that you can visit, and it's coordinated in the zoo. So I'm planning to be there in December and January. So if anybody of you happens to be there, I'd invite you to visit that together with me, and then you can also learn about how to handle the tourism, because the tourism obviously is an issue, and it needs to be managed professionally so that you get the right types and the right number of tourists into the geoparks. So the presentation, I have 27 slides, but I don't take 27 minutes, so don't worry about it. I'll go through some of them very quickly. Of course, UNESCO is one of the oldest specialized agencies of the United Nations, dealing with education, science, and culture, but those are the three traditional platforms. We also have in the science, we have natural science, social and human science, and we also have a platform on communication information. Yeah, like all UN agencies, it's all about peace. After the First and Second World War caused so much tragedy and loss, it was decided that bilateral agreements can't do it anymore. It needs to bring people together on the platforms like this one that we are doing today, for example. So every single UN agency at the end of the day is about promoting and advocating for peace. And we do that on the platform of science, education, culture. This is the current Director General, Audrey Azoulay. For the second time in a row, we have a female Director General, so we also have the overarching global priority, gender equality. And I'm very happy that we have somebody from Burundi here, because we also have the overarching priority, Africa. So I'm very glad that you also invited African participants to be here. So the major programs of UNESCO, in yellow the natural science, with the aim of pursuing scientific cooperation to keep ecosystems and the human life support system intact. I don't need to explain to you, you can better explain that to me, how important geology, and geography and geomorphology, etc. is. In the natural science, these are the three divisions. We have the divisions of shipping capacity building, which was formerly called basic science, physics, mathematics, biology, etc. Then we have the hydrological science, which also includes ecohydrology, where it meets ecology. And then we have the division that I'm working mostly with, which is the division of ecology and earth science, and that biosphere reserves and global geoparks. And if you wish, I can also arrange a smaller online meeting with you, so we can invite the colleagues from Paris to discuss how to set up a committee here and how to go about coordinating geoparks in India. So, yeah, there's a new geological feature on the planet which is called plastiglomerate. I'm sure that many of you have heard about that. It was the Republic of India in 2018 that asked the United Nations to address the plastic pollution and celebrate the World Environment Day 2018 with the slogan, beat the plastic pollution. On the right-hand side, you can see our youngest son, who just turned 18, and my wife. We cleaned up a randomly selected beach in Thailand for an hour, 100 meters of beach, and we collected 240 liters of plastic waste. So that's also, geoparks are not just about geology, they're also about the human life support system. This is the map of geoparks in the world. I believe currently there are 177, and as it was rightly pointed out by, I think in the introductory lecture, most of them are in Europe and in China. But geoparks, they are relatively new, so it's not like there's anybody behind or there's anybody more advanced. It's just like the establishment of the parks. There's a lot of potential, as you can see, in Australia, in Africa, in North, Latin and Central America, and of course in India and also in very large Russia. India is a founding member state of UNESCO since 4th November 46. Before independence, it was already a member state of UNESCO. Taj Mahal was named as a World Heritage Site in 1982. India has 3 World Heritage Sites and huge potential to establish more. There are 12 UNESCO biosphere reserves in India, not 18, as one of the previous speakers mentioned. The 18 are the wish list of India. So 12 of them have been accepted, because countries cannot establish World Heritage Sites or biosphere reserves or geoparks by themselves, and that's what makes them credible, and that's what makes them strong in the long run, because otherwise country could just put a sign on the ground and say, look, we have a biosphere reserve or we have a geopark, and then there's no management plan to it, which would also consider the management of tourism. And then there is, of course, a review every now and then, and countries have to show that they are managing these sites according to the management plans. I go very quickly through the biosphere reserves that are there, just to inform you, and then also to symbolize the potentiality that India has for geoparks. So the first one that was established is Nilgiri, then the Gulf of Mannar here with the endangered sea cow, the dugong. There used to be 3 sea cow species in the world. Right now we only have 2 left, the manatee and the dugong. Steller sea cow has been globally extinct. Then the Sundarbans, as it was mentioned before, with the largest standalone mangrove ecosystem in the world. That does not mean that India, neither Bangladesh, have the largest mangroves in the world. That's happens to be in Indonesia. Mexico and Brazil also have more mangroves. India has 4,300 square kilometers. Even Myanmar has more. They've got 5,000. Papua New Guinea as well. But India has a lot of mangroves, and after the decline of Indian mangroves, India did something to bring them back, and they are continuously working at it, which is very laudable. Nanda Devi in the northwest of India, then Nokrek, Pachmarhi, Similipal, Ashanatma, Amarkantak, Great Nicobar. We've seen photos of Nicobar there before today with the active volcano. Agastya Mala, we are planning to do a film on that. We talked about that before. As a matter of fact, I would like to do a film of all of the biosphere reserve in India, together with the biosphere reserves in Ethiopia, as a South-South cooperation. That could also include geoparks, if you wish. Kamcheng Zonga is also a biosphere reserve reaching more than 8,500 meters. So India's biosphere reserves are from below 0 meters, with the seagrass beds in the Gulf of Mannar all the way to above 8,500 meters. Pana, I think, was the last that was established. At UNESCO, we have also taken India's call on beat the plastic pollution very serious. So we established in 2018 the UNESCO Plastic Initiative, because course, plastic pollution is mainly dealt with in the United Nations system by the United Nations Environment Program, but plastic has been patented in 1940, and since that time, pollution is rising. It's nothing new. It's an old shoe, and not one UN agency can do it by themselves. It needs a concerted action with all governments, UN agencies, IUCN, and every single one of us. We have basically to improve our plastic consumption behavior. Just for those of you who don't know that yet, microplastic has entered the human digestive system, 9 out of 10, according to German and Korean studies. And it has recently been published by the Freie University in Amsterdam that nanoplastic has entered the blood system. And we have no clue what it's doing there. So these are brand new studies from this year. The products that we have produced recently, just to let you know a little bit about what we are doing, we have produced a brochure on biosphere reserves in India, Sri Lanka, and the Maldives. Also with a view to encourage Bangladesh, Bhutan, and Nepal who don't yet have biosphere reserves. And we call the brochure Pockets of Hope. So if you wish, I can send that to you. And we could also develop something jointly for India on geoparks. And maybe we could call it barefoot geology also. So that was the idea I had when I heard that term for the first time today.
Thank you, Dr. Boer. Fantastic.